We all think we know what a story is. But what if all those books on your shelf are, well, more than just entertainment? What if they're actually a kind of secret guide to life, to truth, to the whole human experience? Let's unlock that, shall we?
So let's start with a really big question. When we talk about everything from, Shakespeare to the latest bestseller, are we really just talking about a fancy way to be entertained?
Or is it something way deeper than that? A completely unique way of thinking about our lives, our world, and our place in it all. That's the idea we're really going to dig into.
To get to the bottom of this, we've got to look at this huge conversation that's been going on for centuries. Seriously, thinkers have been debating what literature is, and their answers kind of fall into four major philosophies.
Okay, first up is a cool Greek idea called mimesis. It's actually pretty straightforward. The idea is that literature is a mirror. It just imitates or reflects the world around us. It's showing us life either as it is or maybe as it could be.
But for a guy like Aristotle, this imitation wasn't just some photocopy of reality. No, he believed it organized life in a meaningful way. It lets us experience these huge emotions, pity, fear, you name it, from a safe distance. And that leads to what he called catharsis, which is basically a powerful release, a cleansing of all those bottled up feelings. Pretty cool, right?
But what if the focus isn't on the outside world at all, but on the inside one? Well, that brings us to our second big philosophy, expression. This theory says that literature is really all about the writer's own feelings, their imagination, their unique self, just pouring out onto the page.
The Romantic poet William Wordsworth absolutely nailed this idea. He called poetry a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. So in this view, literature isn't a mirror reflecting the world. It's more like a lamp shining out from the artist's soul. It's all about pure, raw emotion. Now, a third perspective kind of zooms out, way beyond the individual writer to the society they lived in. This theory sees literature as a social document. It's a product of its time that, if you look closely, reveals all the power structures, the class struggles, and even the hidden beliefs of the world that created it.
And finally, there's a philosophy that says, hey, wait a minute, maybe we're missing the point by just looking for messages. It argues that what makes literature so special is the artistry of it all, the careful construction of the language, the shape of the story. It's not just what is said, but how it's said that really, truly matters.
So there you have it, 4 different lenses you can use. You can see literature as a reflection of life, as the author's inner world spilling out, as a product of its society, or as just pure artistic form. And each one gives you a different key to unlock what a story really means.
Okay, so that's all the big picture theory. But why does any of this actually matter to us? What's the real impact on you and me as readers? How does this story really change a person?
Well, reading is a seriously transformative act. It doesn't just tell us about human nature, it lets us feel it. You feel the jealousy of Othello, the ambition of Macbeth. And by letting us walk around in someone else's shoes, it builds our empathy. It literally sharpens our minds, improves our own language, and it gives us the tools to reflect on our own society. Let's just zoom in on that idea of sharpening our thinking for a second. See, literature isn't a passive sport. It forces you to think critically about what you're reading, to interpret really complex symbols and themes, and to build up your analytical reasoning so you can make a case for what you think a text means. It's basically a workout for your brain. So, we know the what and we know the why. Now, let's get to the how. How can we actually, do this? How do we actively engage with a book to unlock all these deeper layers of meaning? It's time to build your reader's toolkit. All right, the very first step is to start thinking beyond just what happens next. The plot, that's just the skeleton. To really get what a piece of literature is about, you have to look at the muscles and nerves that bring it to life. So, what exactly should you be looking for?
Here are the essentials for your toolkit. Just start asking questions, like, what's the central idea here? The theme? How are the characters really built? What does the setting tell me? And don't forget to look at the author's specific language, the story's structure, and the historical context it came from.
And check this out. Here's a brilliant 5-step method you can use for any book. First, the basics. What does the text literally say? Then, look closer. How does it say it? Through its style and form. Then you ask the big questions. Why does it say it? What's the point? What is this revealing about the wider world? And finally, the most important one, make it personal. How does this affect me?
So, after all this, all the theories, the benefits, the tools, what's the ultimate takeaway here? What is the real, true purpose of picking up a book and reading it?
It really just comes down to this. Literature isn't some escape from life. It's an incredibly powerful tool for understanding it. It allows us to explore the huge, messy,
beautiful thing we call human experience, all through the incredible lens of imagination.
When you boil it all down, it trains us in 3 absolutely essential human skills. It teaches us how to feel deeply, connecting us with emotions we know and some we've never felt before. It teaches us how to think critically, to question everything. And maybe most importantly, it teaches us how to see the world and ourselves differently.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. The next time you pick up a novel or a book of poetry, just remember, it's not just a story. It's a conversation. It's a mirror. It's a puzzle. And the real question is, what's it going to reveal about you?